Break-even point, or BEP. Introduction. The break-even point, BEP, is a critical financial concept that helps businesses determine the level of sales at which they neither make a profit nor incur a loss. It is a key tool for decision-making, especially in pricing, cost control, and profit planning. Understanding BEP enables companies to set revenue targets and optimize cost management strategies. Definition. The break-even point is the point where total revenues equal total costs, meaning the business is not making a profit, but it's not losing money either. At this point, the revenue from sales exactly covers all fixed and variable costs. In practical terms, a business reaches BEP when it sells enough units of its product or service to cover all the costs incurred in production. Components of break-even analysis. The BEP analysis relies on the following key components. 1. Fixed costs. These are the costs that do not change with the level of production or sales, such as rent, salaries, and insurance. Fixed costs are incurred even if no goods or services are produced. 2. Variable costs. These costs vary with the level of production or sales. Examples include raw materials, direct labor, and utilities. 3. Selling price per unit. The amount at which each unit of product or service is sold. 4. Contribution margin. The difference between the selling price per unit and the variable cost per unit. This margin contributes to covering fixed costs and generating profit. Contribution margin. Formula. Contribution margin equals selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Break-even point formulas. There are two common methods to calculate the break-even point. 1. Break-even point in units. This formula helps determine how many units must be sold to break even. BEP, units, equals fixed costs divided by contribution margin per unit. 2. Break-even point in sales value. This formula calculates the sales revenue required to break even. BEP, sales value, equals fixed costs divided by contribution margin ratio. Where the contribution margin ratio is, contribution margin ratio equals contribution margin per unit divided by selling price per unit. Break-even chart. A break-even chart is a graphical representation of the relationship between total costs, total revenue, and the break-even point. The chart consists of 1. X-axis, horizontal, represents the volume of units sold. 2. Y-axis, vertical, represents total costs and total revenues in monetary terms. Key lines on the chart. Total cost line starts at the fixed cost level and increases as variable costs are added with increased sales volume. Total revenue line starts at 0 and increases linearly as the number of units sold increases. The point where the total cost line and total revenue line intersect is the break-even point. Below the break-even point, the business is in a loss area, and above it, the business is making a profit. Example of break-even calculation. Let's take an example of a company with the following data. Fixed costs, $100,000. Variable cost per unit, $20. Selling price per unit, $50. Step 1. Calculate the contribution margin. Contribution margin per unit equals 50 minus 20 equals 30. Step 2. Calculate the BEP in units. BEP, units, equals 100,000 divided by 30 equals 3,333. This means the company needs to sell 3,333 units to break even. Step 3. Calculate the BEP in sales value. First, calculate the contribution margin ratio. Contribution margin ratio equals 30 divided by 50 equals 0.6, or 60%. Now calculate the BEP in sales. BEP, sales value, equals 100,000 divided by 0.6 equals 166,667. This means the company needs to generate $166,667 in sales to break even. Applications of break-even analysis. Break-even analysis is widely used in various areas of business decision-making. 1. Pricing decisions. companies can use BEP to determine the impact of different pricing strategies on profitability. 2. Profit planning. By understanding the BEP, companies can set sales targets to ensure profitability. 3. Cost control. BEP analysis helps in identifying how fixed and variable costs affect the bottom line, allowing managers to focus on controlling costs. 4. Investment decisions. Before launching a new product or making an investment, companies use BEP analysis to determine if the projected sales will cover the associated costs. Limitations of break-even analysis. While BEP is a useful tool, it has some limitations. Assumes constant selling price. BEP assumes the selling price remains constant, which may not always be realistic in competitive markets. Ignores changes in variable costs. In some cases, variable costs may not remain constant as production levels increase due to economies or diseconomies of scale. Assumes a single product. BEP is usually calculated for a single product or service, making it less useful for businesses with multiple product lines. Does not account for market conditions. BEP doesn't take into account changes in market demand or competitive actions, which can influence sales volume. Conclusion. The break-even point is a vital tool for financial planning and decision-making. It helps businesses understand the minimum level of sales required to cover costs and start making a profit. By analyzing the BEP, businesses can make informed decisions on pricing, cost control, and profitability targets.
Yes, see you on
Feel
the
okay?
top.
Feeling good?
Okay, see you on the top.
Yes.